Human resource executives breathed easy in 2023 as attrition across India Inc. came down to 17% in 2023 from a high of 19.7% in 2022. But during the same period, India's major IT companies struggled to retain talent at the top. A number of CEOs, COOs, CFOs, and other top-level executives switched sides in search of greener pastures. According to data from NSE-listed companies compiled by Prime Infobase, C-level exits surged 18% from CY 2021 to 166 in CY 2022. In 2023, till October end, 157 MDs and CEOs have quit or are on their way out. It was a double blow to the IT firms, which were already grappling with weak demand due to global slowdown. In December, Wipro and Infosys accused Cognizant of resorting to unethical poaching practices as it hired nearly 20 senior leaders over the past year. Most of those who joined Cognizant were from the two IT companies. Wipro went a step ahead and took two of its former executives, Mohammad Haq and Jatin Dalal, to court after they joined Cognizant. Experts point out that such practices are prevalent not just in IT but across sectors. To curb it, companies enter into no poaching pacts with their competitors.
No poach and no compete is a very standard clause, which is obviously there in most of the offer agreements which are there. And I think it's a very standard practice to add that. And to a degree, I would say 95 to 98% people enforce it. Or people who typically violate it is not about the fact that they have joined a competitor with the malified interest of taking away an IP from this company to another company. So I think it is only those 1 or 2% cases where there is a very specific breach and there is a very specific IP violation which happens out there. But in terms of this clause being there, the clause is always, I think in most of the offer letters, the clause is there. But how many companies kind of go and enforce that in that strict discipline? How many employees really breach that in that true strict sense? That number is obviously very small.
Senior search executives had told media outlets in 2022 that several large Indian businesses advised them against hiring candidates from direct competitors, especially for C-level recruitments, a departure from the past when they were actively engaged in the practice. The same year, Adani Group and Reliance Industries had also signed a non-poaching pact, reportedly after both the behemoths set foot in the common territory of renewable energy and petrochemical businesses. Essentially, employment clauses such as non-compete and non-poaching are more of a gentleman's agreement. Section 27 of the Indian Contract Act, 1872, forbids any agreement that restrains anyone from practicing a lawful profession or trade. Non-compete clauses generally seek to deter employees or new employees from joining clients and competitors after a certain time. However, legal experts have said that in India, any obligation of non-competition which extends beyond the term of employment is void and not enforceable.
Non-compete agreement is basically entered upon between an employer and employee, whereas a no-poach agreement is entered between two organizations. Now, courts typically have a view that whenever it involves an employee, they're always pro-employee because company is always in a better position to sort of bargain. So the courts are more sort of strict if it involves an employee. Whereas in a no-poach agreement, employees are not directly involved. It is between two organizations. So courts' view is a little, I would say, liberal there. That these contracts are more enforceable. They're not in restraint of trade. They're considered, whereas non-compete clauses they're void and they're not enforceable.
Globally, too, non-poach agreements are prevalent. According to reports, foreign courts in some cases have passed restraining orders on senior executives who join a rival firm, preventing them from hiring from their former employer. On the other hand, there also have been cases where no-poach agreements have been subject to increased regulatory scrutiny in the US and EU. Reportedly, EU antitrust lawyers have flagged concerns that such practices may unlawfully restrict workers' job opportunities. Search consultants have suggested several other ways to retain senior talent without resorting to non-poach agreements, like rolling out longer tenure employment contracts of 5 years versus 3 earlier, and longer notice periods of 6 to 9 months as against 3. Many companies have also started boosting C-level pay packages and are increasingly trying to create high exit barriers. This means they are backloading ESOP vesting and long-term incentive payments, usually towards the end of the term of the employment contract, to bind top-level executives in longer-term association. Clearly, companies need to focus on long-term solutions like ensuring the right work culture and cultivating a healthy working environment. Employer-employee relationship is also paramount. No-poach agreements should be the last resort.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
She's working her way to the corner office. Business Standard.